Hello, it's Nicole from GetYourRockOut with John and Robin from Maybeshewill. So this is first date of your tour with your new album, Fair Use. So how is it going? And are you excited for tonight?
This is actually the 54th show.
Oh, this is the first show in the UK?
Yeah.
All right,
It's not even that. It's technically the second show in the UK because we played London last month. But yeah, it's the first night of the UK leg proper of the tour.
Okay, so tonight you're playing at Manchester's Deaf Institute. So you seem to be playing some interesting venues in this UK leg of the tour. So like sort of more bars as opposed to like traditional gig venues. So was this intentional?
No, I guess that's the size band we are. We're playing, most of them are venues that there's not a lot that we're playing that we've played before. They're all kind of new, but they're ones that we've seen other bands that we like and bands that we respect playing. So it's nice to. It's kind of a little step up for us. It's been a long time since we played the UK, so it's nice to be stepping up to more sort of recognised venues.
Yeah, all the places like that we're doing on this run have all got like quite a good heritage. Like this place, Deaf Institute, I'd actually never been to before, but I'd heard the name like loads of times. It's always on like tour posters and stuff. And a bunch of the other places we're playing, the Flapper in Birmingham is like it's been going for ages. Stereo in Glasgow is another sort of like. It's a place we played a bunch, but it's got a lot of like kind of good history. I guess a lot of bands go through there.
Yeah, and as a gig goer, it's always nice to go to a venue that's more like a bar. It's just got a better atmosphere, I reckon. So how come it's been so long since you played the UK then?
We've played the UK a lot, but with supporting other bands. Okay. So we've been doing tour supports with. The last time we did a headline show was with a band called Light. How many years ago is that? Like,
about 3 years ago, I think.
And that was kind of co-headline thing. But since then we've supported Dillinger's Gate Band, Trailer Dead. I think Earth Tone 9 since then. In all of which have come to Manchester, but we haven't been here, kind of under our own steam.
Okay.
Yes. So you kind of lose perspective on, like, I guess, how well you're doing in the UK, like who's interested in the band. It's nice to come back and finally see that. Hope the work over the last few years has paid off a little bit, maybe.
Could you explain the theme behind the new album?
There's lots of different stuff going on. It was kind of the product of being away on tour for quite a long time, because with the previous record, we toured that for about 2 and a bit years. So it was like a lot of the inspiration came from being on the road, being away from home for a long period of time, being awake for a lot of the time, and sort of like travelling and seeing like different things, different states of like sort of awareness, consciousness, and I guess kind of like dreams and things figured into it as well. And we kind of wanted to make a record which was a bit more like textural than our previous stuff. We had the idea of not writing so much for like guitars and trying to do stuff with like real acoustic instruments. So there's a lot of strings, a lot of brass, piano, accordion, loads of stuff that we'd never like really got the chance to record before. So it was just like trying to expand the whole sort of palette of sounds that we use and just sort of like push ourselves a little bit.
Yeah. So what was the inspiration behind that?
Just from having done 3 albums of like pretty full-on guitars, there's a lot of like kind of heavier stuff on the previous albums. I don't know, we just sort of felt that we'd maybe got to a point, like a sort of plateau with that sort of stuff, and we wanted to try something new. But having said that, it's still like a continuation of the previous record. There's like elements of that sort of continued on into the new songs. But yeah, it was just about trying to sort of just do something that we hadn't done in the previous 3 records.
Okay. What's the idea behind the album name, Fair Use?
There's well, it's a bit of a difficult one. There's like there's sort of ideas and like concepts behind it that are kind of personal to us. I guess on a literal level, it's maybe like a sort of realization and kind of appreciation of the fact that we've been doing this for like quite a few years now, but maybe not exactly in the sort of prime of our youths as people. And it was sort of looking back on like our experiences doing the band and how it's kind of shaped our like 20s, because we've been doing this for nearly 10 years, so it's pretty much the whole of our like that decade of our life. And maybe just kind of, I don't know, like a sort of like a salute to that sort of period of our lives and how much it's kind of like shaped us as people.
Being in a band kind of keeps you in your 20s. Like, we're both turning 30 in 2014. It kind of means you can't have a serious job. You have to. There are certain sacrifices that doing the band requires you to make in order to continue that experience, and the experience is incredible and it's totally worth it, but it sort of prevents you from moving on with your life in a way, and keeps you kind of in this weird hinterland between youth and adulthood, kind of like that idea.
So were you trying to reach a new audience with the new album?
I don't think we necessarily ever try and reach an audience. Maybe to like subconsciously, but
yeah, it's never really a concerted effort to like, we need to appeal to this like demographic of people. It's just we wrote the songs because that was the point that we were at. Like, that was the sort of mindset we were in, and that's what we wanted to do. And so, like, if it does appeal to a new set of people, then that's cool. But that's just like a byproduct of what we do as like musicians, as writers.
There isn't really another album that we could have made at this point. Like, that is the album that Maybeshewill has produced from the 5 people at this particular time in our lives and this particular time in us making music together. And that's the only thing we could have done, really, I guess.
So what's it been like to keep the DIY aspect in the album, bringing in all the extra elements like musical elements?
Jamie, our bassist, recorded it. He recorded the last record as well. We've always kept that side of things in-house. It's all entirely, like, there's no other influence on the writing or recording process than the 5 of us. As the band's sort of grown, we've had to work with people from outside of the circle of the band, but it really is like, there's maybe 5 people outside of the 5 of us that we deal with on a regular basis who work for the band. It's a very small circle of people. That kind of keeps it DIY, I guess. Someone books our shows, someone looks after our press, and we have a record label. But they're very like small groups of people that are like close friends of the band.
Yeah, they're all people that we knew, like we have like a history with. They're not just people who've come in and sort of like started dealing with the band and don't have any like knowledge of our sort of backstory. They're basically like friends, a lot of them, and people that we've met through doing music, that we've sort of managed to co-opt into helping us out with the bits that we can't do ourselves.
So would you say it's a very personal project?
Yeah, totally. Like, it's the music is written as like a sort of expression of our personalities, our kind of emotions, our feelings and stuff, and the fact that we get to promote it with the assistance of people who are, for the most part, like good friends of ours is like a really beautiful thing. It's like an extended family of friends. It's the best way I can put it.
So, what's the idea behind the album art?
We've worked with a guy called Fraser West since the very earliest days of the band. He's a really good friend of ours, and he'd done a few videos and bits and pieces for us, a couple of t-shirt designs. But for some reason, we'd never asked him to do the album artwork, despite him being like an obviously very creative person and totally in tune with what we do. So when we came around to doing this record, I think Robin mentioned quite early on that he thought it'd be a good idea to use a photograph for the cover, which we haven't done before, directly anyway. And Fraser's an incredible photographer. He's a really good like graphical artist. He does videos, does all sorts of stuff. So we thought we'd ask him to do the whole package, like from the start, the teaser trailers for the album, the full artwork for both the CD and the vinyl, and the videos for the songs from it, and have one sort of cohesive idea running through the whole lot, and he did an amazing job with it.
We basically took a bunch of ideas that we had to him and said, this is like the vibe of the new material, this is sort of what we're shooting for. Gave him some like kind of keywords and stuff, and then he just went away and shot some stuff with this model, and came back with like a bunch of things for us to choose from. And yeah, we saw that piece and we were just like, yeah, this is great. This is like exactly the sort of like kind of weird, dreamy, hazy sort of atmosphere that we wanted to like kind of get across with the music. So it just fit really well with what he came up with. So yeah, we were like super pleased with it.
Awesome. How would you describe the progression across your albums?
It's funny because we started the band, like I said, almost 10 years ago, so we were definitely different people back then. Like taste-wise, I was into a lot of different bands, and
literally different people as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've had like a few members change as well, so that's going to have some impact on it. But I think it sounds kind of cliched, but it's like a sort of maturing. Like as we've grown older, the music has become, in my opinion, slightly more refined and more sort of better put together. And yeah, we've just kind of like challenged ourselves, like I said, with writing for different instruments and just trying to get more sort of textural with the music. Whereas before, sometimes we wouldn't really put a lot of thought into the sound of something. We'd just be like, here's the guitar chords, here's like the drum beat, but like it didn't always sound as good as it could have. So we just like, in the last 2 albums especially, taken more time to tweak the sounds and just make everything sound more sort of like cohesive and just like better, I think.
What was your favourite additional instrument to work with?
It was quite exciting doing euphonium because we'd never had that on a record before, and the guy who played for us, Chris, is really, really lovely, and like, yeah, just super talented. He came in and actually played some trombone and euphonium and some trumpet as well. And like by the end of the first session, his lips were just like red raw. Like he just absolutely killed himself doing it. But he put so much effort into it. We're really pleased with how it came out.
Same with I missed the brass days. I was skiving off somewhere. But the strings for me are always really nice. And they like the strings are something that are quite often done with synths and sort of sampled sounds. But when you put them on as a real performance, I think it's really special. I really like that side of things.
Recording real piano as well was like a first for us. We've had piano on every record up to this point. We've never actually managed to record a real one. So going into the studio and actually having Matt play,
it's like 100-year-old grand.
Yeah, it was this incredible, like really sort of like ancient piano with really heavy keys, but the sound in the room was just phenomenal. Like so much better than anything you can get with sampled instruments. So having that was like a really special like addition to the album for us.
So do you have a mission for this tour?
Not die. Get to the end of it would be.
Yeah, just get through the shows, I guess, and try and have as much fun doing them, and hope that people have fun watching them as well.
Yeah. Do you have anything exciting in particular planned?
We've done quite a lot of exciting stuff in the last few months, to be honest. We went to Russia, China and Australia in September, so that was pretty cool. Yeah, we've done loads of really cool shows. Played on a boat, we played in like loads of like really cool venues all over Europe.
Played in a big sort of open air amphitheatre in the Ukraine right at the height of the tensions with Russia. It was pretty like...
Yeah, I don't know if that was exciting or sort of like terrifying, but we've had some like pretty... Yeah, it's been a bit of a roller coaster like this tour, but it's been great so far. So hopefully these last few dates in the UK will be really good as well.
Yeah, it's nice to be back in the UK, having kind of neglected it for so long, in a way. Yeah, see where we're at.
Yeah, is it a good place to end like the tour so far?
Well, it's your home country, so yeah, you'd hope you'd have like a good reception here, and I think we have done in the past. Yeah, I think our the very last date of this year is in Leicester, our hometown. So that should be quite a special one. We're really looking forward to that.
Good. So, do you have any like tour habits or traditions?
I don't know if we do. I mean,
we spend so much time on tour and so much time living in each other's pockets that a lot of tour is just. It's like a routine. Every day is a routine.
There's a lot of routine. Once you get into the swing of things, like you just you find you're doing the exact same thing at the exact same time every day, pretty much straight for like a month, which is kind of, I don't know, it could drive you crazy, but you just kind of get used to it. You just adapt to that life.
We have our sound engineer plays the same song at the start of every sound check, and then before we go on, we have a playlist of songs that play in the same order every day. And I guess that's as close as we get to like a tour tradition.
Yeah, it's good to know, like, with regards to the pre-show songs, like when you hear a particular track, you're like, okay, this is it. We're going to go on in like 10 minutes or whatever.
It's like a countdown.
Yeah, it's like it just like gets you into the mentality of like you're going to go and play a show. But yeah, it's just nice to listen to music that we like before the show.
How would you describe the band yourselves?
Well, we don't have any. Yeah, it's pretty good. We don't have any vocals, so I guess we're instrumental. We get lumped in with like the post-rock term quite a lot, which is fine. I don't know. We just try and make stuff which is like maybe a bit different from the majority of instrumental bands. There's a lot of stuff which is like a lot of really long songs, a lot of big slow build-ups, and then like a sort of crescendo, and that kind of gets a bit predictable after a while. So I think the way we've always viewed songwriting is to try and condense that into something a bit more kind of pop and a bit more like just like get on with it.
For a while, a lot of our songs were like 3-4 minutes long.
Yeah, the majority are. None of them are really any longer than sort of 4 or 5 minutes. So we like to keep things like concise and just try and get to the point rather than like. There's a tendency with some bands in our sort of genre to get into the kind of like self-indulgent sort of like playing for the sake of playing thing, and we've never really wanted to like fall foul to that. So we just sort of concentrate really hard on making the songs as good as possible and as like short and to the point as possible.
No chaff.
Yeah, sorting out the wheat from the chaff. That's our motto.
From now on, apparently.
So what do you have planned for when the tour finishes?
Nothing.
Christmas, because it'll be the 20th, the 21st by the time we finish all these shows. So yeah, I guess we're all going to go our separate ways and enjoy Christmas. And then
we've got some vague sketches of next year, but it really like we're supposed to be meeting our booking agent tomorrow to talk about what we're doing in 2015, and I don't think we even really know what we're doing. But I think we'd like to go to America because we've never been there, and that's the only place on this tour that we haven't made it to. It's a bit early to start thinking about going back to anywhere that we've already done, and we've done so many places that rules out a lot of things. It'd be nice to have a little bit of time to ourselves.
Yeah, I think like we've been touring pretty much straight since September, so I think like a well-deserved break for a few weeks at least, and then just sort of start making plans for next year, whatever they might be.
Call it there. So thank you very much and have a brilliant time on the rest of the tour.
Cheers. Thank you.